All right, one of my subscribers asked me a little while ago to do a video about my dust collection system. So here you go. I bought this dust collector. It's got to be at least 8 or 9 years ago now, maybe 10. And the reason I bought it was I was able to attach it to my old collector, which was a Sunhill collector, which had that, I'm sure you've seen them with the two bags, the filtering bag on top and the collecting bag on the bottom. And it worked okay. I mean, it wasn't the greatest, but the beauty of that one was, or one of the upsides of that one was, it collected much more dust than this one. And you could see in the bag how full it was getting as time went on. I mean, you could just go over and basically tap the side of the bag and find out what the level was. With this one, you see that clear tube there. Let me see if I can get you a better shot here. This tube right here that connects the cyclone to the half barrel collector. There have been times where I've noticed I've gone too long and that has started to fill, and that's a problem when you let your collection go too far or too long. It just becomes a mess to clean up. But overall, I do like this setup. Much more efficient, much cleaner than my previous double bag setup. So this filter is not the HEPA filter. It's just their standard filter. And once you get enough flour dust in there, and the way you clean that filter is just by running your fingers over this. And I can see stuff dropping down here. And that gets a lot of that light dust out of there, and then that in turn makes it a little more efficient. So from there, and the other thing is that I sent them a diagram of my shop and where things were laid out, and so then they came up with the tin tubing layout for me, and that worked out perfect. I mean, with the proper dimensions and where stuff goes, they knew exactly where to put the drops and all that stuff. So let's just go on a little further here. So out of the main collector, or out of the main fan here, I guess, comes the 5-inch collecting tube. It's 5-inch up to the top, which runs this direction. There's a Y here that goes this way to my shaper, and then downhill to my table saw and router table. And I can show you what I did there. So that you can see how there's a reducer here to go to 4-inch, which takes me to use it to either with my shaper or my router table fence. And then this remains at 5 inches down to the floor until I get to my a Y that takes it, and I'll show you that right here. That takes it to my table saw. The one nearest me with the gate open is my table saw, and then the open one goes to my router table. And I have a gate underneath my router table to shut that one off. Okay, so that's my main collector. That's pretty much used 95% of the time. So that main trunk that you had seen earlier, over here, that runs up to my ceiling, behind these boxes, to a corner, and this is one thing that they do for you, is that it's not a hard 90. That's kind of a gentle, almost like 245s in there, so that it doesn't, it keeps the airflow going very well. So it's 5 inches, and then you'll see here, let me get on the other side of this. There. Now you can see here where it reduces down from 5 to 4. Okay? So, let me see if I've got something here I can use. So this is my split right here, reducing down. 4 inches going this way to my jointer, and 4 inches going this way, and then a drop, which I used to go to my miter saw. I don't know how much of that you saw, but you can see the drop coming down now. And then I had to supply that flexible tubing to get over to my miter saw, which is not a problem. I don't have a problem with that, but I've got a dust gate there, right there, which, you know, with this system, it's more efficient just working off of one tool at a time. And I sometimes will have 2 gates open at a time, and it's pretty good. But when you shut everything down and just use it as a dedicated collector to just one tool, it's very good. And then this one here, the nearest one, running this way, drops down to my jointer. So here comes that one. Dropping down to just about a couple of feet above my jointer, and then here again I got a gate and flexible tubing that I run down to my joiner. So that runs down and hooks up there. Now what I'll do from time to time is, not from time to time, whenever I use my planer, I'll unhook this hose from the joiner and just bring it up over the top and collect it to, attach that to my planer, and then just run my planer right here in this area. Okay. So that's it. I don't know what else I can show you other than that. I like the system. It's been very reliable. The one other thing that I've attached is a remote control. You can see that there, which I can use anywhere in my shop, and I like that as well. I don't remember how much that cost, but I believe I bought that at Woodcraft. So let me just show you one last thing here. So after that Y, let me show it to you one more time here. Coming off of the main tube that dropped down, there's a Y right back here that I had showed earlier. That comes back into here for my router table. I have a gate here to turn, shut this on and off. And then the gate for my table saw is back on the other side there. And generally, that's open, like I said, 99% of the time, or 95% of the time. The only time I'll shut it off is if I'm using that router table kind of exclusively for a long period of time. So that's my dust collecting setup that I have. Give you another view over here. So there's the drop coming down to my joiner. And there's the drop going across my ceiling and down to my miter saw. And then everything, is just held up with that metal strapping here. You just wrap it and screw it into a ceiling joist. So that's it. Thanks for asking, and thanks for watching.